Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
The following portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Weather conditions are deteriorating tonight as Hurricane Sandy heads for the Bahamas and expected to make its presence felt in a major way in just under 11 hours from now. Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm Keishla Adderley. Thanks for joining us. Battering winds and heavy rains in Jamaica today were the first indication of Hurricane Sandy's strength. The storm hit the island this afternoon with 80-mile-per-hour winds and heavy rain, and by tomorrow around 1 p.m. it'll make its initial encounter with the central Bahamas, though its impacts will be felt throughout the archipelago. Here with the latest on the hurricane is Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Basil, where is Sandy now?
Well, Keisha, if you look at our satellite picture, you can see that broad area of cloudiness associated with Sandy is now just pulling away off the northern shore of Jamaica. And before it did that, it pounded it with strong tropical storm force winds in excess of 40 miles per hour, which were recorded in both Kingston, Jamaica, and Montego Bay as well. But there are some pockets of that 80-mile-per-hour winds which we did not record in Jamaica, and hopefully if we can get those level of winds here in the Bahamas, we'll certainly be pretty much okay. However, at 5 o'clock this afternoon, the center of Sandy was located at 18.3 degrees north longitude, 76.6 west. That puts it about 25 miles northeast of Kingston, Jamaica. It's moving north at 14 miles per hour. Maximum sustained winds are still holding at 80 miles per hour. The forecast track, it will continue moving north tonight, which will take it over eastern Cuba tonight, and by tomorrow morning around 9 o'clock, it will be coming off the northern coast of Cuba, and that is when islands in the central Bahamas will start to experience the effect of Sandy, in particularly Exuma and Long Island, Ragged Island as well. Around 9 o'clock in the morning, the tropical storm force winds should start affecting those islands and gradually spread into the capital by early afternoon tomorrow and eventually over the Lutra area by tomorrow night. So that is how things will be unfolding over the next several hours as Sandy makes its way through the Bahamas.
Basil, I just want to ask a quick question. This is a pretty large storm that we're dealing with. Talk about the size of it and its organization.
It is pretty broad, Keisha, as you said. You can see the eye is just about here, just to the north of Kingston, Jamaica. But look out here, all of this yellow spot, that is heavy convection, which will fire up some showers and thunderstorms over the next couple of days. As a matter of fact, they've already had some mudslides in Haiti earlier today, where I think there was a loss of life there as a result of that. So you can see this have far-reaching implications because of the heavy rains that's associated with it. The good thing for us here in the Bahamas, we are flat, low-lying islands, so mudslides will not be an issue for us, and with this forward speed of 14 miles per hour, that certainly is good news for us, and that will minimize the flooding impact. But certainly as it passes over Cuba, they could have some issues again with flooding and mudslides. But you can see we have some of those rain bands over the central Bahamas already firing up some showers. So during the course of the nights, there will be pockets of these showers as those feeder bands continue to work their way toward the north.
All right, thanks a lot, Basil. We'll hear from you a little later on. Meantime, Exuma, as you heard Basil indicate, is one of the islands expected to feel Sandy's impact first. Our Julian Gibson got one of the last flights into the island this afternoon. Here's what he was able to tell us about conditions there and preparations.
The island of Exuma making the necessary preparations, touching down in Exuma after 2 p.m. this afternoon by flying in over Staniel Key. We saw that the Yacht Club Marina was basically closed. In fact, the marina life around most of the keys pretty much shut down. All the keys making the necessary preparation, all the boaters looking for a safe harbor. Now I'm joined by Senior Deputy Administrator Theophilus Cox. I understand that you guys had a hurricane preparation meeting this morning. How did that go?
Julian, it went very well. We had a meeting this morning to make sure that all the shelter managers were up to speed on what we had to do. They are well equipped. They received their kits. and that we should be activating our shelter at 7.
Of course, our Senior Deputy Administrator Theophilus Cox. Also joining me is our Chief Consular Gordy Gray. Gordy Gray touching down in Exuma. Like I mentioned, 2 o'clock this afternoon. There's been a light, steady drizzle of rain here. I've managed to drive through the settlements from Morstown straight up to Williamstown. We was driving around. Look like it's business as usual. What's the mood of the residents of Exuma?
So right here now in Exuma, we all geared up for the arrival of Tropical Storm Sandy. Julian, Exuma has always been at the area. They always concerned of flooding the low-lying areas, and we have on the island, that's the mainland, we have 16 shelters. We have 3 in the Exuma Keys, and we have the 1 at Ragged Island. And all of the shelters managers were alerted to the fact that they should be ready to have the shelters open by 7 this afternoon. And we have all of our necessary agencies in place. We met with them, and everybody's on board, ready to deal with Sandy when she arrives.
Well, that's the latest here from Georgetown Exuma at the Administration Building. Like I mentioned, hurricane preparations well in place. The island of Exuma, they are bracing themselves for whatever may come from Tropical Storm Sandy. In Exuma, reporting for the ZNS News Network, I'm Julian Gibson.
Well, Prime Minister Perry Christie is advising members of the public to heed warnings issued by the Department of Meteorology and take Hurricane Sandy seriously. This as Sandy is expected to make landfall in a matter of hours. And considering the potential danger a hurricane can unleash, Prime Minister Christie assured residents that his administration stands ready to assist those who may be impacted. During this morning's session of the House of Assembly, the Prime Minister also issued advisories on closures at government schools and at government offices.
All schools, public and private, to remain closed as of Thursday and Friday. That is an ongoing matter. The Minister of Education has been sitting in here while these things have been going on, but he's aware of it. Government offices, except for emergency personnel, will remain closed Thursday and Friday.
Meantime, outside the House of Assembly today, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Immigration, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, gave the latest on considerations for students studying in Jamaica.
I've been in touch with the student community in Kingston, and the president of the association there says that from the information she has, everyone is safe on the campus. The campus at Mona still has power and water. There are some reports that students who live off the campus have no power. It appears the water is still on, but there's no power. But essentially everybody is safe. There's a lot of rain and wind. Everyone is hunkering down for the storm to pass. I've also sent out a message to the students at the University of the Northern Caribbean in Mandeville, which is in the center of the country, which is high up in the hills, to find out what the situation is there. And I'm awaiting a briefing on that. But the impression we got from the student community was it was not necessary to arrange any kind of airlift, which we had done on an earlier.
Meantime, the public is advised that due to the anticipated effects of Hurricane Sandy, air traffic services will be suspended to and from the Lyndon Pindling International Airport, starting at 7 a.m. tomorrow, with services tentatively scheduled to resume at 3 p.m. Now, you should note that this schedule is subject to change based on conditions. Passengers with itineraries to or from LPIA should contact their airline carriers directly for service updates or to make changes to existing reservations. NAD has already implemented its hurricane preparedness plan. The NAD response team will be in place during the storm and will work to restore the airport to full operations in a timely manner. Well, typically, Wednesday mornings at Super Value on top of the hill Mackey Street are slow, with a fair number of shoppers in and out of the store. But today, manager Shelton Taylor says business picked up as customers rushed to purchase last-minute items.
You have a lot of people buying like bread basket items, water, and so forth. So there's a little bit more than we would normally accommodate. So you can see they're taking that seriously. Yeah, this store is stocked with batteries and all the things, the flashlights, the portable radio units, everything that they would need to go throughout a hurricane.
Now, Taylor says the Mackey Street SuperValue location will be open until 9 o'clock tonight. However, if needs be, he says those hours will be extended. He's urging residents, though, not to wait until the last minute. But resident Rosa Sherman says she's not worried about the storm.
I don't worry about the hurricane because the Bahamas is the best country in the world, and God provides everything for us, and we trust in God, and God helps us all the time. So I told the hurricane, go someplace else, but don't be here with the people. So nice and friendly.
Now, locals are not the only persons preparing for the impact. A number of tourists who were at SuperValue also picked up some last-minute items. Well, here's a bit of hurricane history. Hurricane Wilma hit the Bahamas 7 years ago today. It was recorded as the most intense storm on record. The storm unleashed its fury on the northwestern portion of the Bahamas with hurricane and tropical storm force winds extending beyond 200 miles around the eye, losing some strength before touching down in the northern Bahamas. Wilma was blamed for 13 deaths in Jamaica and Haiti and 3 in Mexico. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, is now fully activated, and residents in the central and southeast Bahamas are again being advised to complete all preparations and not to take the storm, regardless of its status, when it gets here for granted. We spoke with them today. We'll get to that story later. There's more news after the break.